Hi, let's take this quiz. Are you an extrovert or introvert? This quiz has 10 questions and it will show you where you are on the extrovert introvert continuum. About this quiz, figuring out if you're an extrovert or introvert is not as simple as knowing if you're outgoing or shy. This is very true. A lot of people who seem like they're extroverts are actually introverts. I don't think the other thing happens as much where people seem like they're introverts and they're actually extroverts, but I think there's a lot of secret introverts out there. Being an extrovert means you get energy from others, while introverts recharge during alone time. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? So, if you're an extrovert, being with people makes you feel energized and excited and happy, and you leave that with more energy. If you're an introvert and you hang out with other people, it feels more draining on your energy. And then don't worry, this quiz will tell you where you stand. So if this is a new concept for you, or you think you might be one or the other, this is a perfect quiz to take. So let's get started. As I say with all my quizzes, please note what letter you get for each number. You don't have to say like 1A or anything like that, but just count the number of A's, count the number of B's as we go along, because that's going to help you score your own quiz at the end. So, question number one, in general, you tend to be a better A, talker, or B, listener. Choose your choice, mark it down, and let's move on to question number two. Question number two, you are almost always the life of the party. Would you say A, this is true, or B, this is false? Mark down your choice, and let's move on to question three. You would say that you're a bit difficult to get to know. A, is that false, or B, is that true? Okay, mark down your choice, and let's move on to question number four. When mixing with people, you find small talk and casual conversation to be A, easy and interesting, B, difficult and annoying. Mark down your choice, and let's move on to question five. You would say you have A, high energy, or B, a quiet sort of energy. Mark down your choice. We're halfway through with the quiz. Let's continue. Question number six is coming up. When put in a group, you tend to become the leader. A, true, or B, false? This is very straightforward. Mark down your choice, and then we're going to move on to question seven. You tend to A, think out loud, B, think before you act. Choose your choice, mark it down, and let's move on to question eight. You would rather A, watch a movie, B, curl up with a good book. Mark your choice. Let's move to question nine. You are easily embarrassed. A, false, or B, true? And finally, question 10, the last question. When you go to a sporting event or concert, you tend to A, cheer loudly, B, sit back and take everything in. Okay, mark down your choice. And now we're going to go over the answers. So before we do that, just take a real quick look and try to figure out, do you have mostly A's? Do you have mostly B's? Do you have a mix? Do you have more A's than B's, more B's than A's? Just take a quick counting of what you've answered in this quiz so far. If you answered all or mostly all A's, or almost all A's, you are a total extrovert. You're as outgoing as they come, the life of the party, you're friends with everyone. You are a people person, and you are quite the entertainer. You love being around a crowd and acting spontaneously. Okay, if you got this, then that means you are for sure an extrovert. You are as extroverted as they come. And you probably already knew that, quite honestly, because to get almost all A's or all A's to this test is very extreme on one side of the pendulum. And hey, that's great. Being an extrovert is actually associated with a lot of good life outcomes. And there's nothing wrong with any of these outcomes on the quiz. And being an extrovert can be so great. And extroverts tend to be happy, they tend to be healthy. So good for you, extrovert. The next outcome is if you answered more A's than B's, but you feel like it's a mix. So, like, maybe you had 7 A's or maybe 6 A's or 8 A's, something like that, I think is going to be more this outcome. It's just kind of up to your discretion, but this says you are primarily an extrovert. You are quite outgoing, you are a social connector, and you know a ton of people. While you aren't a wild extrovert, you are a great talker. You are a fantastic storyteller and you keep everyone laughing. So you may not be like the person who's always getting the party started or always on the go, but you have a lot of friends and you connect with people really easily. You may not be the most outgoing person you know, but you are definitely outgoing. You're definitely an extrovert. Okay, the next outcome is for people who have about an equal mix of A's and B's. So obviously, if you have 5 of each, then this is your outcome for sure. And then I would also say, depending if you have 6 of one and 4 of another, you might fall into this category as well. You're going to have to just kind of figure that out. And that is you're an ambivert. And that is an interesting term. Some of us know this term, some of us don't. And it means that you're both an extrovert and an introvert depending on the situation. So you're a bit outgoing, but also a bit reserved. Like most people, you enjoy being social, but you also value the time you have alone. You have struck a good balance. So I think the interesting thing about ambiverts is that they sometimes get energy from being with people and they sometimes get energy from being alone. And you have to sort of figure out which one it is in any given situation to maximize your energy and your happiness. So, being an ambivert is awesome. You've definitely got both best of both worlds, but sometimes you have to navigate things a bit more too because it's more complex. Okay, the next outcome, if you answered a mix with more B's than A's, like we talked about for a previous outcome, I'd say like if you have like 8, 7, maybe even 6 B's, then this is your outcome. And that is you are primarily an introvert. You are quite reserved. You aren't afraid of social situations, but you very much prefer to go it alone. And why not? You're your own best friend. So this is for people who are definitely introverts, but I would say that this is what I was talking about earlier too, where these might be the introverts that people are like, "Wait, you're an introvert? No, you're not. I think you're an extrovert." And so these are more the introverts that are definitely social sometimes, but then they need to run home and just like decompress and relax and like get some of that energy back. So solid introvert for sure, but maybe a little more social than the most extreme introvert, which is coming next. Okay. And then all or almost all Bs, so 9, 10 Bs, maybe 8 Bs, you are a total introvert. You avoid people at all costs. You aren't one for social interaction and you limit your interaction to a select few. Thank goodness for self checkout. Oh my gosh. That is so true for me. Sometimes I'm definitely like, thank goodness for self checkout. Um, yeah, so I think this is just for people who are very introverted. And I think that sometimes people will consider this to be a negative. And I wanted to just speak a moment about that and say that's definitely not true. There have been a lot of studies that say that people who are happy being introverts thrive as introverts. It's only the people who are isolated and alone a lot who don't want to be, who I think start to run into mental health issues and need to really kind of branch out and find their friend group. So if you're a hardcore introvert, and you're happy being that way, or if you're just a season of your life and you're hardcore introvert and it's working for you, that is awesome. I've been there many times myself, and sometimes that is just what I need. So, anyway, this was my whole quiz. I hope you enjoyed taking it, and I'm wondering if you learned something about yourself. Like, did you learn you're an extrovert or an introvert, or did it sort of reaffirm what you already knew? Leave me a comment and let me know. And I hope you have a great day.